Hello everybody, my name is Alckemy and welcome to the future. What you're staring at is none other than Drambo, which is a wonderful, crazy little app that is both available for iOS and iPad. Unfortunately, if you have Android, you are SOL. But let me tell you about Drambo. Every time I hear it, I think of the name from Tom and Jerry, you know, the little cousin of Jerry's that's like, whom would it down to do Crambo? It's Drambo, so don't get it twisted, but it's just kind of a funny little meme that I think of. But as you can tell, this thing is absolutely crazy. We can make kicks in it. We can make claps in it. We can make snares in it. We can even make my signature style of neuro basses that transforms between a really deep bass and generative, crazy, weird sounds. All within a single patch. Now, it's not perfect, but it does have a lot of crazy, crazy capable features that I would hope that, you know, the modern DAWs and stuff that I use have available that is sometimes locked away behind insane price points. This is only $20, $30 if you get the wavetable stuff, but $30 to be able to make snares in the shower. Are you kidding me? It's absolutely crazy. So let me kind of just introduce you to the way that these things work, and then I will get on to more of the bragging process behind things. But basically, within the semi-modular environment, you kind of have to tell it what to do through every step of the way. For example, if I were to pull up something like a new sound, then I would use something like an oscillator, and you'll see that it will start making noise right off the bat. So in order to control this, I'm going to have to use something like an amp or an ADSR or something in order to make it stop. And now I can control the sound when it outputs. So basically, just as an indicator, the semi-modular approach means that you kind of have to tell it what to do through every step of the way. But once you kind of get used to that, you can essentially build your own synths into crazy and immaculate things that do wonderful stuff. So let me show you a different example of some really cool stuff that I've made. I've got this little instrument rack here, and I'll just go to my presets and pull up something musical. So let's do maybe something like Overgrowth. And what you can see here is that we've got both MIDI effects. This is called Fugue Machine. And we also have things like third-party effects, which this is a chorus. This is a convolution reverb. And this right here is an awesome FM synth. Now, what I just showed you, these are like paid external apps, but what this is like indicative of is that there's a bunch of freaking VSTs that are available that you can modulate third party. So if I were to just play this, let me make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Hit the play button. You can create cool stuff like this. Which is, you know, just kind of a cool little melody maker or whatever, but we can try some other things too, maybe perhaps like this, and see what this does. Now, if I were to pull up something really awesome, say something like Fluss, I can actually record this into a granular synth, kind of like so, with the Fluss processor. And this is actually an effect processor. I am meant to pull up the Fluss recorder. And now what I'm going to do is go and record our melody into this. Now that I have this, I can save this as Shadow Drop 2. And guess what? If I were to get rid of all this and pull up a brand new machine, if I go to Fluss, I can resample this as I have here and load up this patch with the Shadow Drop 2. And now look, I've got the same thing that I can start to play different notes with and do all types of crazy stuff. I need to make sure that the output is going in the correct place, which it is. And now let's see if we can make something interesting out of this. We can also move this down here and turn on the other engines. And spread this out a bit. Case in point, this is all stuff that I would be doing on the computer that I can do on here. And it's incredibly easy and incredibly fast once you've figured out kind of like the two-thumb workflow. But even though this Fluss thing is a granular synth and it's a paid extra, just the fact that I can do this and start to stack on effects, whether it be through a processor rack or just a simple thing in general, is pretty substantial and pretty amazing. And not just that, but there's all different kinds of things. For example, the frequency splitter, of where you can add, actually this is the layers, but you've got, like I said, a frequency splitter with the layers crossover. So a low, mid, and high. You've got the layers in general to where you can add more layers here. So you can do parallel effects and processing. Anything in here is basically like you can modulate even if it doesn't show up. So let's say I put on something like a reverb here, feedback delay network. And if I hit this little guy right here with the arrow, the gray thing, then that means that I can attach a modulator to it. So we can get an LFO, to which you've got mini LFO, you've got wavetable LFO, you've got multi-stage envelope generators with the graphic. So if I go here with the graphic modulator, you can see that we can kind of create different points here in which to create nice and interesting shapes, as you see. Like, this is crazy. This is everything that you ever want inside of a sound design tool. So I'll move this over to the left and we'll go here and make sure that the output goes to the little green button. And now look, I can modulate this on the reverb and make this kind of slow. Pretty insane. But what's also crazy about this is you see that these other knobs and these other modules are unable to be modulated. Well, if we go to the morph tab right here and we move this over to the left and then we go assign, anything that we move over here, we can actually attach to this and make it a modulatable source. So now that we have this, if you see me move this, the size is moving with it. And now all we have to do is the same thing of modulate this to our LFO. And now you'll see that this will move in conjunction to the size. How crazy is that? So in comparison, this again would be very similar to something like Bitwig or something like even Phase Plant, because you can essentially build anything within here. But what this is technically designed for is to just allow you to go crazy and really come up with the most crazy kinds of generative things that you can and have a lot of fun doing it. I have so much more to talk about within this, and I will be covering how to do these crazy things in general. But I really just wanted to give you some insight into how freaking crazy Drambo is and what you can do with it. It can make neurobasses, it can make drums, it's got some physical modeling things built into it. It's got your LFOs, it's got multi-stage envelopes, it's got wavetable LFOs, it's got, you can import your own wavetables here. As you see, I've got my own Eternum series things loaded up into here. Unfortunately, there is no wavetable maker, to which I don't think that that's available for iOS in general, unless if you're on iPad. But I mean, how easy is it to just export some wavetables from Serum and then transfer it into your phone via AirDrop? So yeah, I'm just blown away by this thing. I can't believe that the technology is available, and I really hope that everybody gets into this, because you're going to have a lot of fun. And they're not sponsoring me. I sent them a personal email to tell them how awesome of a job they did and that I'd be covering this like on my own free will because of how sick this is. Especially because you can do this with third-party effects like you could on Bitwig. Like, there's no reason why I can't do any kind of crazy sound design anymore right from my pocket. You know, I don't have to sit down at my desk and load things up. I can be cuddling with my partner and just have ear pods in while she's reading a book or something, and I'm over here working on my next bass patch. Now, one final thing that I want to show you with this is at any point in time, if you want to bounce something out to audio, all you have to do is create some kind of clip here. So this is a kick, which is very high. So I'll just create a D sharp here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to hit this little record button over here at the top left, and I'm going to hit the record and hit play. And now when I hit play again, it recorded into my library. And so now what I can do is come out of this and go into my files and go into the samples here to where I will go to recordings and go to 85 BPM. And now you'll see that I've got all of these bounced out, ready to go. And I believe this one is my kick. Look at that. And now all I have to do is airdrop that to my computer if I want to drag that in. How convenient is that? It's super incredible. And like, don't even get me started on what kind of apps are available as third-party effects. You've got things that are multi-band compressors, OOTs, phasers, really interesting synthesizers. The Fugue Machine is something that I'll cover in another video. Convolution reverb, MIDI generators, all different kinds of stuff that you can use in which to get your hands on. Even the Knock plugin is available if you're trying to make some sick drums. So that was just a very brief intro into how amazing this program is. And I really hope that you all give it a shot because there's a lot to get into. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully you learned something, and be sure to like the video and leave me a comment on, whether or not you think Drambo is dope or whether or not you got some ideas of something that you want me to try. I'll see you in the next one.